Hi everyone, today I'm gonna talk about a book called Sight Reading by Daphne Kalotay. First I wanna tell you a little about the author. She grew up in New Jersey, but then she moved to Ontario. She studied in Boston University, where her stories received a lot of awards, just like the School Friends Engel Randall Fiction Award and a Hemphill Foundation Award. Her first book is called Calamity and Other Stories, and it was published in a lot of places. And then her first novel is called Russian Winter, and this one was translated and published in 20 languages. And in 2011, it received the Writers League of Texas Award in Fiction. And her second novel, this one, won the New England Society Book in Fiction. And over her life, she studied literature and creative writing in other universities, just like the University of Massachusetts, Harvard University, Middlebury College, and Princeton University. And actually, she lives in the Boston area. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the book. I actually would recommend it. It's a pretty good book. I'm not used to read this type of romantic fiction and drama books because I'm more like horror and suspense, but I actually like it. I enjoy it. It got me. This novel, it's about a marriage that was broken because another girl. It was the first marriage. It was because between Nicholas, who was a composer and musician. He was very famous, so he traveled a lot of places and presented in a lot of places. And then her wife, Hazel. Hazel was for me it was a kind of perfect woman because she made a lot of work. She was perfectionist. She always tries to communicate perfectly with her daughter Jessie, and with her husband. So she was actually pretty awesome wife. But then suddenly other girl came into her life that it was called Remy. Remy is a prodigious violinist and she's very talented. But her life was a chaos. And actually she was younger than Hazel. And one time Hazel just went to other place because of his dad. And Nicholas just had an adventure with Remy. So everything went wrong. And most of the story, most of the novel um, is about 20 years later, 10 or 20 years later, after their divorce, and how they communicate, how Remy and Nicholas still together, how they're a chaos with her daughter, and how Hazel still take care of Jessie, and how she suffered about the divorce, but how she decided to move on. But also how Remy got other problems, and yeah, I'm not going to spoil you. But yeah, it's actually how they try to move on with their lives. Actually, I read it the first time. This is the second time I read it. But the first time I took the book was actually because I was like a musician. It was kind of a poster of classical music because I read like, oh yeah, it talks about classical music and it had a lot of classical music terms. So I read it and I was just like, I feel I feel like, how do you say, like a very good musician. But then I realized what the novel was trying to tell me. I like it because you can feel the emotions of every character, just like Hazel frustration and pain and sadness about the divorce, or how Remy's frustration or anger, or also how Jessie felt about what was happening between her parents. And yeah, you can feel the emotions, and it describes you a lot of things, just like you can imagine perfectly the place they are, or the feelings they are transmitting. So yeah, I like it. I would recommend it to all of you. And yeah, it's not a classical drama of, oh, don't go, I loved you too much. No, it's like, it's not the same drama, but it's like kind of the same, but in classical music terms. And most of the feelings they describe it with terms of music, just like life is just like a tempo or something like that. They just compare them so you can understand it in another way. So yeah, I hope you read it one day. It's a very good novel. That's all. Thank you guys.